In the heart of Mount Olympus, where the gods dwelled in splendor, one deity stood apart, not in the grandeur of his appearance or the glory of his might, but in the solitude of his forge. Hephaestus, the god of fire, the master blacksmith of the divine world, was unlike his fellow gods. While Zeus ruled the skies with thunder, and Athena commanded wisdom with a poised intellect, Hephaestus wielded the flames in silence. His was a realm of molten metal and unrelenting heat, where iron and steel were forged into works of unmatched beauty and power. Born to the mighty Zeus and the goddess Hera, Hephaestus' beginnings were marked by an unfortunate twist of fate. Unlike his radiant and majestic siblings, he was cast aside, rejected for his deformities and perceived weakness. His body, marred by a crippled leg, made him an outcast in the eyes of the gods, a sharp contrast to the flawless beauty and strength of the Olympian elite. Cast from Olympus as a child, Hephaestus found himself abandoned in the depths of the earth, where fire and lava raged, shaping him into a god of creation and destruction. Yet, it was in this solitude that Hephaestus forged his destiny, not as a god to be feared for his wrath, but as one who shaped the world itself. With hands as skilled as they were scarred, Hephaestus crafted wonders for the gods. Weapons that could slay titans, armor that could withstand the forces of nature, and even treasures that held the power to bend fate. His works, though born from fire and toil, would outlast the glory of many gods. But as Hephaestus' fame spread across Olympus, so did the whispers of envy, deceit, and treachery. Even the gods were not immune to jealousy, and a new chapter of Hephaestus' life would unfold, one that would challenge the very heart of the god of fire. For though he could forge the most powerful of weapons, Hephaestus was about to learn that not all battles could be won with a hammer and anvil. This is the story of Hephaestus, the misunderstood god, whose fires would burn not just in his forge, but in his heart, as he would rise from the ashes of his own insecurities to create not only artifacts of legend, but a legacy that would echo through the ages. The fires of Hephaestus' forge were unlike any other. They burned not with the gentle flicker of a hearth, but with the raw, intense heat of an eternal flame, bright, unyielding, and untamed. In the deepest recesses of the earth, beneath the towering peaks of Mount Olympus, Hephaestus toiled tirelessly, forging masterpieces that even the gods marveled at. The clang of hammer against anvil rang through his forge, each strike echoing like a heartbeat, each spark a fleeting moment of creation. Yet despite the perfection he wrought with his hands, Hephaestus felt the weight of loneliness pressing upon him. He had never known the embrace of love from his divine parents. His father, Zeus, a god of thunder and storms, had never once acknowledged a son who bore neither his strength nor his majesty. His mother, Hera, the queen of the gods, had rejected him upon birth, repulsed by his deformity and crippled form. She had cast him from Olympus in a fit of rage, and Hephaestus had fallen, like a burning star, into the deep chasms below. There, in the heart of the earth, Hephaestus found his true calling. He did not cry for pity, nor did he mourn the rejection. Instead, he embraced his solitude, forging himself a destiny of his own making. His body might have been broken, but his mind, his hands, and his heart burned with the fire of creation. And so, Hephaestus learned to master the flames that had once symbolized his rejection. He became the god of fire, not of destruction, but of craftsmanship, of forging beauty and power from the raw elements of the earth. The gods on Olympus were unaware of his power for many years. They were caught up in their own glory, their own battles, their own schemes. They did not care for the crippled god who worked in the shadows. But Hephaestus did not care for their indifference. His creation spoke louder than their disdain. One day, however, a visitor came to his forge, a god whose beauty rivaled the sun, whose grace was unmatched, and whose wisdom was known throughout Olympus. It was Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. She had come to commission a weapon, one that would aid the gods in their endless battles against the forces of chaos. Hephaestus, Athena began, her voice calm and steady, I seek your craft. The gods are at war, and we need weapons forged by the hand of the master blacksmith himself. Hephaestus paused in his work, the hammer in his hand hovering above the anvil. He had never known Athena to seek his aid before. Her presence in his forge was both a compliment and a challenge. He had heard the whispers of the gods, the way they mocked his appearance, the way they belittled him for his deformity. But Athena had never once joined in those cruel taunts. She had always treated him with respect, and for that, he was grateful. Of course, Lady Athena, Hephaestus replied, his voice steady but tinged with the weight of his isolation. What weapon do you seek? Athena smiled, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of admiration and purpose. I need a shield, one that can withstand the might of the Titans themselves. A shield that will protect the gods in their greatest hour of need. Hephaestus nodded, the fire in his forge suddenly burning brighter. I will craft it for you, he said, his hands already moving to gather the materials. It will be a weapon of beauty and strength, one that will serve you well. As Hephaestus worked, his mind raced with ideas. He could feel the challenge coursing through his veins. This was no ordinary commission. Athena was not a goddess to be satisfied with anything less than perfection. He would have to pour every ounce of his skill, every fragment of his soul, into this shield. It would not only be a weapon, it would be a masterpiece. Days passed, then weeks. Hephaestus worked without rest, his body battered by the heat of the forge and his mind consumed by the task. He shaped a shield from the finest bronze, layering it with gold, silver, and a deep, shimmering blue that seemed to capture the essence of the sea. He etched intricate designs upon it, scenes of battles long past, of gods and heroes locked in eternal struggle. And at the center, he placed a depiction of the world itself, surrounded by the unyielding flame of his own forge. When he finally presented the shield to Athena, it was beyond her expectations. It was not just a shield, it was a work of art. The craftsmanship was unparalleled, and the shield itself hummed with an ancient power, as though the very forces of nature had been captured within its surface. Athena took the shield in her hands, her eyes wide with awe. This is beyond anything I could have imagined. Hephaestus, she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration. You have outdone yourself. Hephaestus, despite his pride in the work, felt a pang of longing. He had spent so long in isolation, so long laboring in the depths of the earth, that he had forgotten the feeling of companionship. Athena's praise, though sincere, only reminded him of the emptiness he felt inside. Thank you, Lady Athena, he said, his voice quiet. But it is not only your praise I seek. It is the recognition of all the gods. Athena's expression softened, and she placed a hand on Hephaestus' shoulder. You are not forgotten, Hephaestus, she said. Your work speaks for itself. The gods will come to appreciate you when they see what you have created. You are more than just a god of fire. You are the god of creation, of transformation. Without you, the gods would not have the tools to wage their wars or protect their realms. Never doubt your importance. Her words, though kind, did little to ease Hephaestus' heart. For even as Athena spoke of his greatness, he could not shake the feeling that he was still an outsider among the gods. He was the blacksmith, the laborer, the one who was never truly seen. It was a bitter truth, but one he could not deny. But as he watched Athena leave his forge, shield in hand, Hephaestus made a vow to himself. He would no longer wait for the gods to recognize his worth. He would forge his own legacy, one that would echo through the ages. He would not be defined by his deformity or his isolation. He would be defined by his creations, by the beauty and power he brought into the world. And so, the god of fire set his gaze upon the flames once more, ready to forge not just weapons, but a future that would burn brighter than any flame he had ever known.